Hello everyone, I'm Xiao Gang. In this lesson, we'll take a look at ControlFlow. So, where is ControlFlow? Actually, you can see it's in our UE5 plugins, right? Experimental. And in the experimental plugins, there's one called ControlFlows, right here. My comment is under its module name. You can Build.cs. And you can see its EI is actually very small. And here is its comment. It says this is a tool that can do synchronous and asynchronous work, and it's modular. Rapid development through this proxy-based approach, and it can use code, making it very easy to read and very clear and understandable. What the context relationship of these proxies is, because with proxies, we often bind them here and there. You don't know where they're bound, and you don't know where they're called. It's extremely painful. So it writes all the binding and execution points together, making it very convenient. Currently, this system only supports non-const functions, and here are some functions and how to use them. You can take a look. Go through the comments on this page, one by one. Then below is an example code of his. For example, some of its syntax, and also how to declare and execute it. And here is an example given. This example uses the smart pointer notation. Then you can see that type depend looks familiar, right? He defines these as a UEC, and here he declares an execution flow. And this execution flow, it executes a series of these methods. Okay, we can see. Then we won't go into detail about how this is implemented and how many methods there are already. These are on Zhihu, or you can just see it as complete. Let me first give you a direct demonstration. The simplest one I have already got running. A relatively simple workflow and demo. Okay. So we know it is a plugin, so we need to enable the plugin. And at the same time, we need to import its module. Its module is in ControlFlows. Actually, for the module, you need to look at the module name here. Its module name is this. Okay, back to our project. Let's check if we have enabled it in our project. Obviously, we haven't enabled it yet. Then the way to enable it is actually very simple. You can enable it through the editor, or you can write it directly in the code. Let's just write it here. The first one is its lamb, right? Obviously, this name is called ControlFlows. Usually for this kind of plug development, this plug call name and this. Let's see where it flies to. It's not under the time folder. Under the plugcom folder, inside the experiment folder. Look here, that's the name. Then we just enable it. Sometimes your project won't open. You turned off the related plug side again. Or recompile the shader model machine. Yes, at this point, we have already enabled it. After enabling it, we will add it in the module. We can just place it here. Okay, now, let's see if it can start normally. This startup should be fine. Here, we can adjust it to this position. Then you can see it is now starting to load the module. Okay, let's check again. Okay, here, plugin. And then we can press Control here. Okay, so this proves that our ControlFlow has been loaded in. Then here, everyone should make the corresponding observations, and this actor classes are all created. In the next class, we will do a simple usage. Good. We have already created this here. We better write another substance. Then I thought about it. It seems our folders here are not sorted. So let's sort them out here. This part has already been created, but let's sort it together. Because I feel that if we don't sort it, by then we'll have too many of these things. It might be a bit messy, Shouldn't we sort them? So how do we sort them? Actually, it's very simple. This operation is very dangerous. Very dangerous. If you're not very confident, you don't have to do it this way. I'm only doing this here to make it easier for everyone to see. That's the only reason I'm doing this. Let's create 2 folders here. Let's create 2 folders. Let's just close this thing. And don't do this inside the project. Especially sometimes when a file name, you scan a letter, and sometimes you need convenience. You change this file name, it will cause many problems. Because in this case, I am very confident. I know what situation is. So I still dare to do this. Because our C++ actually works through reflection. The location where you place it is actually not important. As long as it can find the C++ class, that's fine. But the class name of a C++ class cannot be changed. What is a class name? It means this class name cannot be changed. Like this gamma mode, if you change the class name of this gamma mode, then congratulations. All your blueprint classes are broken. So how do you salvage them? You need to use CoreEdit. It's the retargeting of this class. That way, there might still be a chance to salvage it. But this task is very tedious. So you must not change the class name unless you know. Look here, there's a blueprint inheritance. There's no blueprint inheritance. Then you can go ahead and change it freely. And if you do change the class name, it's best to do it like this. Just modify it this way with relam. And as for this file name, generally speaking, you can change it freely. This file name can be changed, but you need to be careful. It might be referenced in other places. When you change it here, you will also need to change it in other places, because later we will introduce standalone programs. At that time, we will modify a blank project. Changing it then will be particularly troublesome, but I've already changed it many times. I will guide everyone through the changes. If you don't succeed in changing it, you can just copy mine over. That will be fine too. Okay, now let's go through the changes step by step together. Alright, I'll just take this part and directly cut it again, because there's quite a lot of it. I'll just rename it directly. Okay, I've already made the changes here. You can see this is our blueprint. This directory is contains. This directory is our masters. Under this module, under the masters module, this directory, everyone should be very clear about this directory. Now let's brush it. I think it should be fine. At most, there should be no issues. Now let's open this project and take a look. I also handle version control on my end, so I'm not really afraid of too many problems. We have version control in place. You can see, let me show you. Just a simple version control setup. Basically, my update frequency is quite high. It's just that sometimes I might not submit it on the same day. Sometimes I might think about it on a certain day. You see, it's normal not to find it here, because its location has been moved. At this point you refresh it, it's best to build it. We should be fine just building it directly. You can see that basically all the code here has already been recompiled. Okay, it's normal that it can't be found here. You can see. This is because here, we need to change this name, but we can actually take a shortcut here. But let's change them all uniformly. Okay, and then for this CPP here, maybe we'll just delete it directly. Because they are all under the same level, in theory, there shouldn't be such a problem. If you want to perform this operation, you'd better just it's about the version. I'll trick you because I'm very clear how these problems arise and how they are solved. This is to adjust the tree. This should be our engine. It creates on its own. When it helps us create, it actually added this folder. We changed the name of the folder, and instead it couldn't find it. Okay, now let's take another look. Okay, here we see the error list. This should be more or less correct. Actually, normally we should look at the outputs look. Okay, now let's restart it. Then we'll just add a subsystem later. If you have already done this operation, you can skip it. This is mainly to reorganize the environment for everyone. You can see it should be completely fine. You see, the composition here should also be fine. Okay, you see, these blueprints and elevators are still there. This is because it is done through reflection. So there's no problem. So actually there's a layer in the middle that records information from both sides. This creates a correspondence. This kind of idea, similar to MVC or MVM, is actually very common in UI. Then at this point, let's create this subsystem for everyone. I thought about it, and it's still more convenient to use a subsystem. Here, let's change the name to XG. Okay, then let's paste it like this. Okay, then let's refresh the project here. Alright, now that we have this, let's copy over the subtaste we wrote earlier. Of course, it's easy to make mistakes during this copy-paste process. Let's just copy it over first, then we'll delete. It's simple, we don't need these things anymore. We don't need the tick either, but we do need these three. We can delete this one, this place. Here, let's modify this reflection file. And we also need to change this name. Okay, so after this is done, we include it in the CPP. Pay attention. This side does not start with a U. Okay, it has already recognized it here. Sometimes it doesn't recognize it. Just switch back and forth and it will be fine. Remember we mentioned the type define at the beginning. Actually, this is because our UBT has already helped us. And UBT and UHT have already helped us complete this type define. So we can use super like this. There is absolutely no problem at all. Okay, there is a handling method here. Okay, we'll end this lesson here. Let's compile it. There should definitely be no problem. Thank you all. Please don't hesitate to like, subscribe, share, and support the Mingjing and the Andean channel.